Hello, welcome back to Blast R6 EUL Stage 2, Playday 5, the end of the group stages. My name's Ian. Of course, once again, not of course me, of course these two. We've got Fresh and the three-time world champion himself, Fabian. Guys, we're kicking off, as you keep saying, with a shootout to make it through into the playoffs. It is Secret versus WYLDE. Both teams didn't make it to the last major, and this is a final shot at doing it. Well, a final shot at another shot, I guess.
I mean, WYLDE were so close last time, but they just couldn't clinch it out. They had 3 opportunities. They messed them all up.
Yep.
Hopefully today we can see something different from them, but who am I to say? I mean, it's 2 good teams coming up against each other. WYLDE a little bit more downward trajectory, Secret a little bit more upwards. It's going to be a close game.
Of course, if you lose, you've got the upper qualifiers that you can dip into, but you don't really want to go down there.
No, you don't want to end up on my stream where I'm laughing at you. That's basically what happens.
That sounds like a good place to be.
That's what happens in the open qualifiers. I'm going to do it to Koi next week. It'll be fun.
All right, let's do a bit of a deeper dive into our first 2 teams here, starting with Team Secret. Fabian, they've been impressive. They made some big changes, you know, after not doing so well last stage, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, I mean, they're picking up Falls, Upor, and Miracle. They've had a much better playstyle, and Twister said himself to us that we were correct in our prediction of why they picked up Falls and Miracle to be the supports, Brazilian players with Brazilian playstyle that we Europeans can't really make happen, at least not on the player level yet, but I think it's transforming because teams are more or less trying to play that way right now. So they've been on the upward trajectory. They've completely dominated into the breach on Skyscraper. Then they struggled against the Virtus Pro a little bit on the bank game, and then they beat Koi, which they should have beat in regular time, and they realized their mistakes immediately. But today I think it's a different nut to crack for them because they are in a lot more pressure, and Upor have been struggling quite a bit, so I'm asking him to step up today. And Falls, that we expected a lot from, he haven't really shown what we expected of him.
That being said, you talk about pressure here, Fabian, and Fresh. Falls and Miracle have played at invitationals and majors. They've got tons of experience in high-pressure moments.
This is where they need to come into their own. You know, they were brought in for this exact reason. Secret have always operated under, I would call it bad pressure. Always pressure to try and get out of situations, to escape relegation, to, you know, scrape into, you know, places and be in the league. Now they've got that good pressure where they're fighting for their own future, fighting for that chance to go to the deciders, for the major spot.
Yeah.
This is where they need those experienced players now to step up. It doesn't matter what's gone before. They need those 2 experienced players to be the leaders in the team so that the rest of the team doesn't falter under that pressure, Upor included.
It's the first time we really see them in a positive light, maybe.
Yeah.
That's what I would put it as. It's the first time we actually see some, okay, there's something here to grab onto.
Do you get the impression that it's like they know who they are and they know what they want to be about at this point?
I think so. They've got that kind of core identity. And
yeah,
I fell out with Team Secret about a year ago with the old Team Secret roster when I said that it didn't feel like they had any identity, right? They've now got Twister in post. They've got the Brazilian kind of Portuguese core, especially with Savage being Portuguese. They've got a way of working that looks good. It's the brand of Siege they're playing is good. They're controlling games, and I do like them a lot. So, you know, I'm excited where the Secret roster can go.
You talk about you don't want to ever look forward past the biggest obstacle in front of you, and we do know that this team can struggle in a best-of-3 environment. I think last split they got 2-0 right in the playoffs. So, do you think they've got the map pool if they do get there?
That doesn't really matter what happened last stage. It's 3 new players.
Yeah.
It's just such a big change that the best of 3s, we can't tell until we see them in it. But again, as I said, it's the first time we see them in a positive light. I think they have it within them. Then it's just up to them to show that they do.
Beautiful. All right, let's take a look at WYLDE, their opposition here, Fresh. They had 3 chances of making the major in Phase 1. They didn't make it. They didn't qualify for Gamers 8.
Yeah.
And now they're here, and they're a little bit inconsistent. You don't really know what you're going to get from them.
It's probably the best way of describing them. You know, if you want to summarize since their inception, because they were a brand new team in Stage 1, they ran away with the league play in Stage 1, failed in the best of 3 to get to the major, failed in the next best of 3, failed in the LCQs, failed at going to Gamers 8. Whenever they get to the point where it is big pressure, they've failed. Now, this is completely new for them because they're at the point where there's pressure before they've, you know, ran through the league. There's pressure now just to get into those games that they were in easy last stage. And I put it down, to be honest, at the minute, where, you know, I've done quite a lot of VOD review on WYLDE. I think they've got quite a big coordination issue going on in terms of people going at different times. I watched their, you know, they got 7-0 last week. You can't say they're not inconsistent when they've got a 7-0 and been 7-0. Their downward trajectory that Fabian's talking about, I think, comes from the coordination seems to be falling apart. I'm seeing Aces on Blitz last week going in on his own, 5-10 seconds later, then it was Jegs, and then Hungry, and then Teb. And it was just one by one, walking into die up against VP. And that's not something that we are used to seeing from WYLDE. It's not something we saw play day one from WYLDE. Something's kind of gone astray. They've definitely got the quality to get it back, but that's what today's about for me.
You know, they flew too close to the sun. That's what they did. Because we look at them 7-0 Koi, and then they get all the confidence in the world, and then the arrogance hits in. They go on their perma-ban against Into the Breach. They lose against Into the Breach. Who would have expected that? And then 7-0 the next play day. I think that they maybe have gotten a bit of arrogance, that they feel like they can finally, like, oh yeah, we're one of the big dogs now. Look, we beat everybody last time, and we come back and we 7-0 Koi immediately. Look at how big and strong we are. Only to kind of lose all of the basics. That's what made them really good. That's what made this team. They played as a team. They played with a lot of innovative play style. Like, we don't see that much in Europe. And now it's not the same.
The last two play days, we've been going into the WYLDE games saying, these are so exciting to watch.
Yeah.
And they haven't been.
No.
You know, they've strayed so far away from what made WYLDE really good, the first stage and even the first play day, that I feel like they need to get back to that. Maybe
we'll see it. You know what it takes to be in high-pressure situations at the grandest levels that this game can provide, right? You've, like I said, a million times, you've won World Championships. But it's all relative, right? For these two teams, this is a monumental occasion because they want to make it into the playoffs to give themselves the best chance of making it through to the Atlanta Major. What sort of techniques do you think these players will be putting into place right now before going into the map?
I don't know if they have anything special that they do ahead of these games. I mean, for myself, it was mostly about just knowing what team you are and how good you guys are as a group. Because if you rely 100% on the individual, I don't think you will reach the tops. And one thing that they have to look at already is the pressure isn't even now. This is just the first step of different levels of pressures that you need to overcome. And if you're struggling here already, there's just something that you need to do differently. Be that the way you approach a match day, be it the way that you do your preparation with your staff. Is it your own mental health? What is it that you can change around to handle this pressure better? So I don't know if they do anything special just yet, because I wouldn't. For me, this would just be another game day. So for me, it's hard to compare that one. But hopefully they're going in with the right mindset, because I need to see WYLDE differently from what we've seen them the two last plays.
Did you hear that, Fresh? Just for Fabi, it's just another day in the office.
Yeah, but you know, if I was Brazilian, I would be like a 9-time world champion with all my Pro League titles and all of that stuff. So it's just, you know, maybe they count. Do they count Go Force's World Championships in Brazil, you think? Probably.
Just send it for Brazil. You know it's in Brazil, right?
I don't care.
Okay.
Do you want to go? Anyway, where are we going to go right now? That's the question that we're all wanting the answer to. Our first map for our first matchup. Fresh. We're going to Border.
So, wasn't actually necessarily expecting this. I was personally expecting a Nighthaven Labs. I've been waiting to see it from Secret because I know it's a very, very high preference map for them in terms of preference. What is the highest preference map for Secret, though, is Border. Now, WYLDE get Border banned against them a lot because of their unique playstyle, because they're very, innovative in terms of the way that they can rush and try and play for the plants, which we see all of the time in Border. Suits WYLDE perfectly. Now, in this high pressure match, I'm not surprised that we've seen Border, because Secret love the map. It is their #1 preference. And WYLDE love the map. It's very high preference for them as well, number 3. So, am I surprised we got here? No. Am I a little bit sad it wasn't Nighthaven? Yes.
I agree. I'm sad that it wasn't Nighthaven, but I'm actually happy for Team Secret's sake that it isn't, because what I'm hearing, WYLDE is probably the best team in Europe at that map. So why would you take that team?
See, I was hearing that about Secret. Oh, damn. Can't believe we don't get to see it.
Our little birds are telling us lies.
One thing I want to know is, when we go to watch this game behind the scenes, can you not bicker too much? Can we have a bit of peace and quiet while
we'll hold hands?
No, we've got an ongoing bicker about WYLDE, about who's the Ayana main on that team.
And he's so wrong.
And do you know when the WYLDE graphic came up? It was Jegs. Jegs was the Ayana main. So
no, he's not. He's played like once.
Okay, guys, let's get into this game. We'll give you two a break, all right? Who will cross the border into the playoffs? Let's find out with our casters, Fluke and Hap.
Well, thank you very much, Biggie and Chambers, and welcome to the EUL studio. To join, unfortunately, those two, they will be bickering eternally. I am so sorry. What I'm not sorry about is this game and the fact that I'm here with Hap.
Hello. And
Hi.
yeah, they really are a married couple.
Oh,
aren't
it's both adorable and frustrating to sit in the room with them. Unless you're like prodding and poking them to sort of set them off at each other. In which case, it is a lot of fun. And this will be a lot of fun. Okay, we don't quite get the labs that maybe was on the cards, but we do get what can be quite an explosive border. Because if you sort of look at how these two teams have been playing and have been operating, as we said, we were missing some of that sort of togetherness from the side of Wild in the recent game. I mean, 07, you can't get less together than that. This is such a good map for big guns and for big moments for teams to get into a gun game. If you're looking at Secret, Groovy, he's got, plus 20, he's almost on a 2.0 KD. Miracle, plus 15. Savage, plus 6. Secret are terrifying at the gun game right now.
They definitely are, and that is something you really need to look twice at when you head to a map like Border. We often state it, a very paper-thin map. You can take gunfights from one side of the map all the way to the spawn on the other side, almost, it feels like. And you just got to make sure that everything is on point. I do remember a game here, though, where Wild was playing on Border, and they managed to get, well, not quite 6 plants in. Oh, look at that, all those commendations. You can see who's playing ranked here. So...
Yeah, the new commendation system. If you aren't aware, it's been introduced. You can commend your teammates and your opponents for being good people. That's the little fire icon. So, Yupo had one, Jags had one. I think someone else had one, but I couldn't quite see. Thank you for being good community. Thank you. Hungry. Jags, Hungry, and Yupo are truly the best of this lobby.
Yeah, they've been commended many times by their ranked teammates, so they deserve it. But let's see if they're on fire in the server. I do not know. Fun thing is, I played a game of ranked this morning, and I was playing Mira, as one does in Oregon.
As you do.
And I called out, there's one above the hatch on the little electrical box, and there's one in blue. So what happens, a teammate just runs over towards the box, gets killed from the hatch, and he starts shouting at me. He's like, Mira, why you grief? Why you don't tell me where they are? And then I got reported for griefing. So, I could see it at the end of the game.
That teammate, Fabian.
I got 3 commendations for the game, though, because believe it or not, I will stop fragging. It's insane.
I don't believe it. All right, who will get the break on the boards here? Who is going to be able to get themselves tucked in? Now, although I've highlighted the huge gun game from a couple of members of Secret, Fools and Upor unfortunately do come into this lobby as the 2 lowest rated players. It's very much a top-heavy setup here from Secret at the minute. They haven't quite been able to find that sort of flat balance as the team is learning its footing, learning how to strike as a sort of unit. At the same time, Aces and Jags are the 2 that are able to break over that 1.0. The rest of the team are not that far behind. Teb might be the first on the end of a gunfight. They hop in, but instantly get caught by Packball from underneath. Teb gets the rotate, and what a bait and switch.
That was a bit greedy there from the side of Secret. They thought they had a free kill in their hands as they collapsed from both break and, of course, from the window at the same time. But the cover was out there, and instantly the rotations from Wild on the board. Very important. Miracle taking lots of damage as well as he's forced to rotate around. As the Orcs is jumping back up, Savage just delayed and actually checking that.
Groovy gone as well. After talking about his 2.0 KD, the first sort of victim of this towards Packball, towards just good setup here. They've been able to get CC, and they're still trying to operate with that bit of pace, get themselves some momentum moving towards the end and the backside of this plant itself. Tab and Upor trade each other out. Works for Wild because they're able to sort of keep that body balance back. But again, look at what they're clearing. It's so far away from the site, the opposite end of the map itself. There's still a lot of work to do.
And they're nowhere near the site yet, and his Aces sees a person there, drops down the hatch, but he's aware of the fact that someone's around right behind the server stack as well. Escapes with his life, quickly gets himself inside of the next room, Customs, so he's looking to go for a bit of a flank at the Savage later on.
Jags is going to go off for some support, get himself just in the core in the middle, but there's Aces round on the side, finds the head of Savage, and again, another Secret player struck by just not quite knowing where Wild were holding and what they were watching. 2 remaining players, Fools and Miracle. 2 pickups, and obviously the conversations of ex-MIBR, ex-Furia players, making them have their mark, and these the most important of games. Packball doesn't have the C4, but it's ready to just pop up, and oh no, runs out of bullets! Can't get the second, does get the down, and that's more than enough to cover the end of the round. Wild open up with their first.
The SMG-11 doesn't really carry a big magazine, so
Nope.
ran out of bullets through the second person out there. And Wild indeed, as they managed to get the first quite cleanly, you have to say, they were able to slip away from the grasps of Secret for the majority of that round. I was also going to be mentioning that Wild will be looking to get 3, maybe even 4 rounds on the defense right here. And that's not because of the fact that it is, needing to be a defensive side of map. It's quite, even, like 52%, something like that, towards the attackers. Either way, the point is that they've just come off a 7-0. They need that confidence. They need to just make sure they're winning that first half so they can get back to their usual gameplay, their objective-focused gameplay, when they're going over to the attack. And they'll only do that once they do have a comfortable lead. Otherwise, they'll play a bit more reserved, and that might actually be when they are quite vulnerable.
Now, one of the most exciting things about this game is actually how it breaks down depending on how long it goes on. So if either team gets a clean 3-0, they're good, they're gold. They're making their way through towards the deciders, the playoffs, and then the other team has to go through a much longer route by the open towards the closed. However, if we get to OT, things start to get a little bit spicy because it is sort of differentiated by the round difference. If we get to overtime, WYLDE needs to win it 8-6. If it's an 8-7, then they draw on points even if WYLDE win, but Secret have one more round than WYLDE do over everything. So that 0-7, if we somehow end up as that result, is going to haunt them.
It's definitely not going to be something they'll be very happy with that moment. But again, yes, Secret, they only need to find 7 rounds. Doesn't matter how they do it, and they'll find themselves in a playoff spot. Receiving a bit of pressure.
7 plus a little bit extra. They need 8. If it's an 8-7.
Secret needs 7 point rounds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. Secret needs 7 rounds. And WYLDE need make sure they don't get 7 rounds.
That's fun. There was also some other things that were thrown into this that I was discussing with Sprabuni before, based on the fact that the ITB versus WYLDE game had that 1 round replayed, which actually changed it so an 8-6 would have been okay for them. I can't remember. Sprabuni maths.
Miracle taking quite some damage there as he drops down the east staircase. So Jags is very eager to be taking a fight out here as the castle barricades are being opened up slightly. See which FNATs have been activated to stop Secret from moving in cleanly, and that's going to be making it so it is a bit more difficult to actually challenge the players out here because there's just no safe way through. Teb, does he know how close he is to find the head out here? Goes for the pre-fire, actually finds the kill, tries to rotate around, but a player on the actual window has found him out there, and that made him, well, get quite stuck in that position.
I was going to say, if he got out of that, you would really have a couple of questions there of Secret. They're able to at least get Teb back. But with Savage down, Hungry can see through that mirror window as a heads up. It's just a graphical bug on our end. So he's got a keen eye towards the angles that have been opened up in that CC wall. Now, they have the ping on the players, but Hungry knows that he's being watched. And as soon as he puts his head around the corner, he's in danger. Hey, now he can't see through that. He's still stuck in the situation, though, because if he goes for a rotate, he's going to get shot in the face. But Groovy just double dips. Gets the kill onto one, tries to find the next via the short box as Packball locks in with a shotgun and holds onto the angle. Jegs doing his best to make sure nobody pushes via beepers, but they are all pressed up against that armory wall. And as the blinds go through, they really want to move behind them. The C4 gets the tail end of the players. Upor's on the ground. Packball cuts off, falls. It's just Groovy left standing. Accidentally, I think, almost puts a bullet into his own team, but the rotate round the back, the strike into the side. Secret entirely locked a bit too forward there.
They had the numbers advantage, but then everything just fell apart as they were too heavily stacked on that door. Shotgun blast, C4s didn't help them out there. They needed a bit of variety in that push. Maybe even open up that wall. Of course, they hadn't had the opportunity, and a very quick and early timeout is being called by Secret here. Only 4 kills on the board, which, I mean, isn't the end of the world when you've just played 2 rounds. But that does mean something is not quite connecting as they want to, and WYLDE are on the right track.
And the Secret timeout. It's entirely becoming a bit blinkered. It's twice we've sort of seen them try and throw themselves into an engagement there. And, you can see Twister having a lot of words at the back line of the team, trying to get them back on it, make them pay attention to the game that WYLDE's playing, because WYLDE have and can play very clever Siege. They can play very quick Siege as well, but their sort of main point is changing up the thoughtfulness of the game. They do great takes, and in this situation, they've been able to do great reactive sort of retakes of territory, of ground. The opening catch against Groovy in the first round towards that, just the swing around the back of CC. I mean, it is that sort of all or nothing play, but Secret have to find a way to keep their heads screwed on.
Again, beautiful shot from Teb. And as he wanted to rotate out, or actually went for a quick run outwards to see if there was still a player on the window, I think the best course of action would have been to just jump over the balustrade and hope to rotate down the main stairs door that way. He gets stuck as soon as he moved back in, as soon as everybody just aimed at his position. Back to the mirror window as well. As soon as that got knocked, if you're not moving, you're just going to pre-fired at that point. So it was a good attempt by Secret, finding those 2 kills well, but besides that, we're unable to actually put a dent in.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
The winner of this game, if it's clean, whoever is, you know, the one spot above, goes into the decider playoffs. Doesn't guarantee you a seat at the Atlanta Major. There's still at least 2 games to play before that point, but then it does at least get you into the LCQs, which, if you otherwise lose this game, you've got to play through the open to get a seat at that table. And there's SI points that come from this as well. That's one of those big cost things here, because we have 2 games like this today. The next one is immediately after. Oh, there goes Savage, immediately removed after the timeout. But if we find a team scarpering for points at this point, that dream of SI, whoever loses this is so much further away. At least another 10 games buffer or something.
It's definitely going to be a rough time. Tab again, basically taken out in the same position he was in last time. The C4 will find a kill to Falls. Those Jags needs to rotate out quickly. A grenade was about to be tossed over the top, but I believe Ubers put it back in pocket after that. C4 almost took him out as well. And even though Secret, they get a great start, again, find themselves with a man disadvantage not shortly after. And Uber being very low on HP as well, so definitely not a great start to this round right after the tactical timeout. But your castle barricades is going to be locking them off now. If Uber wants to go and open, it actually puts himself in danger of Jags just instantly replying, and as he grabs the grenade, might actually open up. No, didn't do that either, so there's going to be that shut down as well.
Miracle trying to get some cover around on the side. It's burnt by the ADS there, recollecting the kit. Look at the spread of the 2 players. There's one down right underneath Miracle. They're well aware of the game that you're playing, and tucks the rotate back round towards 90. But again, you can see Wild is trying to make motions. Groovy hoped to catch and bait. There's the spray through, but they were watching. Fired over the top of one. You fully understand what he was doing there, but unfortunately, so does Wild. Another C4, another huge explosion, a catch on the player here after that team timeout. Secret have just found themselves once again battered as soon as they make the approach.
Was that a pre-play C4 as well that I was wondering about that Miracle almost took himself out with? Because everybody seemed to have been above, or
might
indeed,
have been Jax.
Yeah.
After getting the kill,
just
tucked
said.
in, hit the hatch. Rotates underneath.
Was unfortunate though, you know, you're trying to go for the pre-fire on a player on the mirror window, and it was someone right underneath the crosshair out there. Didn't see it. Miracle now in a 1v3, 19 seconds left. He's close to the side as he goes for a flashbang in, but it's about to be walking into a crossfire. Player inside a bathroom. There's someone up above the hatch. He needs to make a decision here, but no matter where he goes, it will most likely result in death. The time runs out. There's no more planting for him now. It's going to be another wild round to be put on the board.
They knew exactly where he was coming from. The intel game's been great. The sort of response, again, as I said, it's been so sharp from Wild. They know that every single round is one that they have to dig their teeth into here. And pushing themselves onto tellers, that 4 that you asked them to get might be the first 4 of this game in a row. It really has been a dominating performance. Full 5 cats. Technically 10. Cats. Maybe that's why they're playing the best they have.
Their first game, they only had 2 cats on the backgrounds.
Yeah, it went from 2 to 3, and now
then they lost their games.
Yeah,
and
now
out
we're
of
up
5.
to full strength of cats.
So it's either 2 or 5. That's the ideal ratio of cats, supposedly.
Or is it 4 or 10? Is it 2 cats?
Oh yeah, because it's double. Yeah,
cat
no,
picture,
4
or is
or
that
10.
a mirror?
I don't know. I would have to ask Sandbox.
We would have to ask Sandbox. We'll send out our best analyst on it.
Put the detectives on it.
Twitch chat, I'll let you fill in who that best analyst is. And also the green room. Ian Chambers, if you hear me, you have to choose right now. Look them both in the eyes. Tell them which is the best analyst. Sorry, I said we like to stoke the fights between Fabian and Fred. Start with this. I am. 3-0 Wild, and they are running Wild a little bit with it here. They've fully lent into this gun game, and you know, we want to see Secret, I guess, have a little bit more awareness. Packbull in the same position he was in before. This is the change. They're going to open up underneath, try and force that player out of that position first. He's already gone. He's Packbull knows this. He's hot-footed it all the way up.
I mean, you close it off, like, you reinforce the tension because it forces them to open up. It's also like a free entryway if you don't. So them using Selmas to open it up, that's going to be utility they cannot use elsewhere. I think with that, it achieved the goal of those reinforcements. Not quite sure how many files have used, just one. Teb taking a lot of damage from a grenade, still finds the headshot to Groovy though. Shouldn't have lived out there, that grenade should have had him. But he lives, finds the kill in response, and again, Wild get an entry.
It has been. Every single blow, every single entry has been one into their favor so far. They've just kept that statistic, and Teb! Unbelievable tear through. Hungry gets Miracle on the back of this, and you know, I sort of said it at the start. We've had a couple of good gun game showings here, but it's generally just been aces that's come into this game positive. And then you're looking at all of the Wild roster are massively showing up here.
Oh, great for them, because it's the important game that determines whether or not you have to go through the open, or if you manage to actually get yourself into those playoffs for a shot at a direct invitation towards Atlanta. And now 2 players stand on Secret as they try and prevent this 4th round to go Wild's way. They definitely seem to be aware of the fact that the CCTV and break is being taken, as it is going to be 1 each. A 3v1 now falls. Last man standing has the diffuser in hand, but it's going to be having to attack 3 full health Wild players all around that bottom floor. Long angles are being engaged in as well. So even if he drops into the site, he's going to be visible from so many directions, and the cameras out there spotting him is not going to be helping either, because he then has to rethink the approach. He's getting some pings, but there's actually nobody there or not right on it. And all the sound he's making is just giving away the game that he's playing.
Well, suffered a bit of a scrape as he went for a rotate round that was deep inside the workshop. There's a scrappy fight, but Jegs has the lockdown from the far side, and they are just not giving them an inch. And it's sort of this combination of not only are they making sure that the whole map feels dangerous here, regardless of whether they've got a person in it or they have the angles towards it, Wild are being just this unstoppably terrorizing force on anywhere Secret want to approach. But also, the gun game, as I said at the sort of moment of Teb getting the swing round, has been so sharp. They are playing as this is a do or die game, and it really is told in the fact that they're 110%. Everything is just instantly getting responses to. Some of it is that little bit of extra special sauce that sometimes only happens in these do or die games. There as well, how low he was, but this kill especially, getting the drone and then getting the kill on the back of it. Sometimes the siege goddesses and gods just smile upon you.
Perfect muscle memory as well out there. Just not like a pixel too much, just center of the head out there on that flick. Finding the kill. So Tab in his position as he's continuing to play out there feels very, very confident inside of CCTV. I think literally all his 4 kills came from inside this room. His deaths as well. I don't think he's really been anywhere else. Now, Secret, you've used your timeout. There's nothing left you can do. You can just wait until Wild uses theirs, or you need to try and get it together in these rounds. Because I mentioned it before, Wild, they need to get 4 rounds to find some of that confidence to get into the second half with everything they got. They've got those 4 rounds already, and there's still 2 more to be gained. That means you need to deny them those rounds, otherwise this might be eyeing up to another Wild 7-0.
That is how it works. Groovy finally gets the opening kill there. Jags gets caught out, but there is AC's very quick. to respond and take care of Miracle. They have made sure that no technical ground was taken, and Esperbini highlights towards us as well, our genius behind the seniors. WYLDE do get this as a 7-0. VP need at least 5 rounds against Koi to maintain first place.
Well, there you have it. I believe that also means that with every round that Secret wins, that means it's one less round that needs to be won afterwards. 2 blind players as the FNATs are going to be causing some trouble out there. Savage will still find a kill, a double kill actually, on the sides of WYLDE, and suddenly it seems an opportunity is arising here that they might be able to pick up a round if it wasn't for Backbull to strike back instantly.
Backbull has a lot to do here around on the swing. The beepers will give some of his position away, but he does have Teb not too far away for some modicum of support as Teb actually goes hunting, takes a big risk, gets one, not quite the second. Look at the health of Falls and Upor though, both quite hurt. A single C4 well placed in time could be the end. Oh. There's the drop onto Upor. 1 versus 1. If they go for the fight itself, they're not going to go for the pickup yet. They've pulled themselves back. There's the bait on the C4 tear. There's the pickup on the down player. Hits the beepers so they'll know they've taken a rotate. And then hops back round on the box. You will hear that as well, but he's not quite sure what side. They've gone all the way around to the right. Backbull!
Beautiful play to come through. Manipulated the sight and the beepers and everything to his advantage out there to rotate around multiple times, retake those fights, and make sure that WYLDE stay unbeaten so far here on Border. As we're 5-0. Definitely the best start they could have hoped for so far for this game. Again, everything to play for here. It is the final spot in this group to go over to the playoffs, which could decide 2 of these teams to go over towards the major, and well, the losers will have to go down to either LCQs or right up to the open qualifiers. And that's not a game. That's not a route you want to go through, because it's just so many games you need to go over. And while really showing that they really want this to be their last.
What a game from Backbull so far. 8-1. And, you know, when he's playing that sort of support structure role, he's never picking the flashy gunner ups because there's a lot of flashy gunners ahead of him. He's sort of alongside Hungry as that sturdy backline, but when you need him the most, I mean, what a performance so far. Could get themselves that 6-0 for the second time throughout this split so far. And although they had the perfect run throughout groups, they are well aware, based on what happened after groups, that it is far from the perfect way to get themselves into that final situation. AC's opened this last time with a take through the soft onto Savage, I think it was. Gonna see if he can get another bit of luck. But again, you know, Secret, they're playing themselves every single round. We've seen almost more and more passive in this approach. They're starting 3 bodies, heavily droned. Teb goes down, caught through the soft. Jegs might be able to get the pickup.
What?
In fact, yeah, gets the pickup on the player. Upor slapped off the back end. Teb's able to slink their way away. Aces is on the rotate round to maybe see if they can try and get the pickup before the danger and the destruction comes. It's actually step in their support structure of Hungry and gets them.
Just wanted to make sure that that wall was closed. Most importantly, Teb will be held back up right after, but it's like, you can wait. It's fine. Like, we need this wall more than we need you at that point. I believe there's going to be a C4 that's being spotted out by the defense, of course, using the evil eye, or the black eye, sorry, to try and get a pre-placed C4 kill. And now they've seen that CCTV and Break have fallen, you might just have a real opportunity of finding a kill like that.
The flash has come over. Jags has got himself that mirror window to get a little bit extra strength and wiggle room. There's also a Teb underneath hunting upwards, but Miracle goes for the drop to see if he can hunt right back. The glass breaking will give a bit of the game away. They're so close to a player. Savage finds Hungry. Jags does get the end of Savage. Doing his best to hold on. The sprays come through from Miracle. He's drawing some attention. There's an instant responsive pressure as Miracle gets Teb. You can see WYLDE are trying to retake ground. I said it a few rounds ago. They're making sure that everything feels uncomfortable. Miracle is forced further back. They don't want to give this body advantage back.
And they have that top floor under control. They have a couple of breaching charges they can still use and fast to create some verticality, which will be very important to try and limit the amount of Oh, really, where these defenders can play. Also, the diffuser's still in hand for Fall, so he might just be opening up as much as he can. There's a player out there, Miracle! Jumps right into Ace's line of sight. Luckily for Secret, 2 players are very low on HP, but it's not going too great for them. Files inside the site now with that diffuser. It's going to be looking to eye up a potential plant spot. Where's the cover, though? Yes, it is up above, but as Files gets off, he's hearing something. He's not sure if he can actually stick that plant. And it's the main stairs that's being held off by Groovy. But that means that there's a horizontal approach right through the actual workshop that's being taken right now, and the C4 will find Files instead.
Drone just inside the lip of the door there. You can see all 3 remaining Wild players made the motion. They had the full audio read. They know where the player's coming from. Groovy's got 1. There's 1 in front, 1 behind. No seconds left. Wild, for the second time this split, a flawless half.
And what a way would it be to start off your group stage and end it in the same way? A 7-0. Must have struggled in those games in between against ITB. And of course against VP when they took a 7-0. It would be like a very like big hit or miss. Like either you 7-0 them or you get 7-0 kind of deal.
I mean, you couldn't get more. Big hit or mishap, let's be honest.
I mean, the ITB game could have been a 7-0 or 0-7, you know?
It could have, but, you know, it's sort of, it's like statistical baselines, not even anomalies at this point. They're just trying to make everything end up as clean and dangerous as possible. If they did find these points, find themselves on 7 and find themselves with such a body deficit that they jumped from here towards the top of the group. It's almost 2 stories, because on one hand, you're like, great performance on the final day from Wild, bouncing back after an 0-7. On the second, you're like, they were here before, and then they lost the next 3 opportunities to get themselves into, what was at the time, Copenhagen. So the same way they sort of put it on the desk, I think it was Fresh said, you know, they've come in quite confident. They've come in as a little bit like, we're the big boys now. This might have humbled them. And this might ruin that humbling.
It might, but I feel that they're going to try and go for a quick plant attempt again. You see the Monty on the board. You see Packball with that diffuser. The Twitch drone getting some good information out here inside of the actual office. A bit of an assassination out there. Sadly not able to get the Twitch drone out just in time. As Hungary is now approaching, well, that might just be an archives plant.
Yeah, the setup's coming across. They're just giving Hungary that room to enter. It's making sure he doesn't get blown up on the first step. So now tucked inside, Upor realizes, well, I can't quite get the cover of that. Gets the taste. Someone's there, and the smart move to crouch so he doesn't get shot over the top as Hungary just feeds all this info. Falls gets the first, though. But Ace is very quickly getting 1 back. And then suddenly, Wild getting a couple more connections. Jegs underneath. Ace is straight across the top. Groovy brings it a little bit closer to even, but Falls just sort of throwing a Hail Mary C4 there. There's no connection. The Monty is alone currently, but both Secret players are 2 Jigs underneath. 2 kills via hatches. The last no grenade. If it ends like this, it ends like that. Wild. Jegs is confused. I mean, 2 7-0s and an 0-7 in a single split. Who else but Wild?
That round was perfection to some extent as well. Of course, you lost a couple players, but 3 kills, 4 kills coming from underneath because we're just like having drones, having information. I don't know what else to say. A perfect game from Wild to close off their group stages here, and that means they will be, well, bumping themselves up to a potential first place, depending on how the VP game will go.
I mean, what a performance from the team, especially obviously Jegs and Packball. 19-2 between the pair of them. Secret, they are much improved from where they were at, and it's not entirely over for them yet, but what it is now a much longer run via the open quals into the last chance, into maybe a seat towards the major. But our next location is a quick break before we're back with the desk to have a quick chat.
It should be easy. Have you put yourself in there?
No, of course, bloody not.
Oh, guys, you're actually on point.
Yeah, I think Dougie has most first engagements.
Yeah, might not win them all, but...
I just found pick on defense, so I was just rushing it with no chance of attack. Classic Savage.
Yeah, of course he goes himself. That's right.
In defense, I think 80% of the round done making an open frag.
That's a good one.
I think we can all be unanimous.
Yeah, that's a unanimous one. It's his birthday, don't bully him.
He just has a broken sleeping shadow.
Kind of surprising because me and Miracle are Brazilian. Like Brazilian is used to get late for stuff. So
I was tired. Okay. I've got the answer for this one.
this is a hard one, I think.
I think they will be the same player.
I have a good one here.
I've lost the Discord.
There you go. That's your answer.
So Noah has like just his phone falls out of his pocket in viewer. You know, we try and call his phone and the guy's not answering, and then this Uber driver like picks up, but he doesn't really speak English.
And I didn't understand like if he wanted to even give me the phone back or if he was just gonna keep it like the entire day.
Yeah, different answers. Yeah, it's probably me actually. Should have voted myself.
Why? He lost his headphones on LAN as well.
And I think Carl is probably the most likely to lose something.
Yeah, lose his mental.
Oh wow.
I think we can do this in a few seconds, guys.
I think they're right. I can't argue with that.
So he's just very eager to not learn the calls or just like change to what he knows.
No, why me, guys?
Yeah.
Why me?
I mean, I think he's trying his best. I know. Sometimes.
I know my answer.
That has to be me.
It's a hard question.
Yeah.
These guys don't like to keep me alive, so they let me die. And
No, that's true. Whoever I choose to bait, that's who the bait is.
Oh, what the?
because I feel like when we rush, you go full ham.
I think it's Noah. He's like, yeah, double up with me, but you go first.
That's so true. No, that's actually so true.
Welcome back to R6 EUL. Wild are in the playoffs. Secret don't make the cut. They didn't even show up to the dance. 7-0 was the score. We'll be picking it apart on the desk momentarily. But before we do, let's speak to the man of the moment, Packbull of Wild fame. This man just had a cracking game, joins us now on the show. Packbull, you've secured your position in the playoffs and you did it in tremendous fashion. You must be delighted.
Yeah, I was just saying a minute ago that's 3 7-0s in 4 games. You know, one against us, obviously, but still, it's been a season of ups and downs for us, for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about that before we reflect on this game in particular. What do you think is the reason for that inconsistency? Because you've definitely been an entertaining team to watch from a neutral perspective, but I imagine within the camp it can be a little bit stressful.
Yeah, I mean, last week it just felt like a bit of an off week. You know, we went in confident on Consulate. We expected them to be, same as us, which is comfortable on it, but it's a new map, so maybe not the best they're ever going to be on it. And then Dan in the interview says, "Oh, it's our best map. We're super happy to play it." So maybe that was a bad decision from us to go to the map. But at the end of the day, we don't know how good they are on a map if they've never played it before in an official. So nothing we would really change if we went back.
Well, it was a good decision to go to Border, that's for sure. Fresh was saying just while we were watching that game that he thinks you're one of the best teams in the world on that map. Is that something that you share? Do you believe that yourself?
I mean, it's a map that plays really well into, our playstyle, which is aggressive together, basically, So it's a map where, because it's so small, pretty much everyone can help everyone, if whether you got one guy in CC and one guy on the opposite side in office, they can still help each other and stuff like that. So it's a map that plays really well into our playstyle, and because of that, we're always comfortable in it.
Collectively, the playstyle was magnificent, but individually from you as well, wonderful game. You stepped up when it really mattered, and I think that we really teed up at the pressure that was involved in this game in particular. Did you not feel it at all?
It felt like a bit of a more chilled game than maybe it should have been, The nerves weren't really there today. And maybe part of that is, we got stomped so hard last week, it can't get any worse. But, it was an important game, and I'm glad that I was able to show up, same as the whole team really did. When you win 7-0, it's not you can't say it's down to one or two people, it's a whole team effort to win that convincingly. So we're really happy.
Absolutely. So that win is now in your rearview mirror. You are now locking on all of your attention and focus to the playoffs and looking to potentially secure that spot at the Atlanta Major. How do you think your map pool is going into this best of threes?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better than it was last season, that's for sure. So last stage, we only had about 10 days from me joining the team till our first game against Koi. And because of that, we did really good in the best of ones. And then as soon as we got the best of threes, our map pool was just completely holding us back. Of course, we had a big off season in the last couple of months. So in that off season, we were still working full pelt. We were still scrimming as much as we do during the regular season. And, we used that time to improve our map pool. So you've already seen maybe that this season in the best of ones, our picks and bans have been, pretty different every game. We've been banning, I would say, for the most part, completely different maps every game. And the reason why is just because we got a big map pool and we're happy to play really anything. So for the best of threes, we're feeling good.
How much have you been thinking about going to Atlanta? Is it just a little bit further ahead, or are you just focusing on each individual hurdle that comes your way, or do you lay your head on the bed at night time and imagine yourself there on the big lights on the Atlanta stage?
Of course, everyone, I think, likes to look ahead and, think about where we can get to and everything. But as our coach always says, we just need to think about one game and one round at a time, because, if we showed up today thinking about who we're going to play tomorrow, or, who might play next week or whatever, then we could lose focus of the secret game. So for us, we always try to just keep looking at the next game, and, one game at a time, eventually you'll get to your goals. So that's how we approach it.
For sure. Let's wrap this up, because I know you want to probably go and celebrate or prepare, one of the two. Any shout out that you want to give to your fans watching at home?
Just thank you to everyone who's been supporting us on WYLDE. Of course, we're relatively new to, the org is relatively new to EUL, tier 1 Siege. But I feel like we've already, grabbed the attention of a few fans, and we hope to, show you guys that we're a team worth supporting. So thank you to everyone who's been supporting us. We're doing our best to put on a good show for everyone, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Packbull,
you've definitely gathered a lot of attention. Congratulations, and you're a good dude. We go way back. So thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck in the playoffs, all right?
Thank you. See you soon, hopefully.
Cheers, man. Thank you. Yeah, for sure. I love those, the open and honest interviews where you get some real insight into, the workings behind the scenes of, it's not easy when you go on that inconsistent run. We talked about it ourselves. To watch it can be quite difficult at times, but to be in and amongst the camp when you're doing, different types of performances, it can't be easy.
It must be awful, actually, knowing that you're so good that you can beat EUL teams 7-0 twice, but then also knowing that you have these moments where you get 7-0'd. It's, they got the job done. They got through to what will probably be tomorrow, in terms of they'll probably finish second. And they got it done emphatically. They've given themselves a great chance at getting first if Koi do cause an upset, though.
I mean, they just played as a team with this as well. It's just, as Peter said, because, I reacted on this. You said we go way back, but you're not even on a first name basis. You don't know pros like that. I do. So
hey, his name's Peter.
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, no, I'm just checking. You know?
That's because I just said it to you. No, but they made that on a team effort, and the way that they played the game was just so beautifully. Peter said during the interview that we can always play off each other, and they really did that. And it's not only that they played off each other and with each other. There's the theory that they had behind the entire gameplay was we hold an area, we waste a lot of time, and then they fell back and they gave up space. They grinded down Team Secret and didn't give them a foothold on the map or any real opportunity to win this. They completely dominated them.
And the big criticism I had of them last week when they went, 0-7, sorry, against Virtus Pro, was they didn't have that. Yeah. I said in the monologue in the pregame, I want to see them improve on their team play, on their coordination. That's exactly what they did today. Yes, I do think, and I said for the map bans that I thought Border high preference for both teams. Wish we'd have seen a Nighthaven. I think for Secret's sake, I wish we'd seen a Nighthaven. Because I do stand by it. It fits so well. Border plays so well into WYLDE's playstyle.
And WYLDE might not be known for having the most mechanically talented individuals. I wouldn't say that they have the big star fraggers, but it's just that the way that they play off each other, you don't need all of that flashiness when you have that proper team play, because they're doing all the basics fantastically. And yes, I know what you're going to say. Jake's had a 100% play rate of Yana. He played it one round.
Free kills.
Fresh.
Free kills.
Was that an impression of Fresh?
Yeah.
100% play rate of Ayana. Free kills. He's going to be the Ayana main going forward. Mark my words.
Are you sweaty right now?
I'm always sweaty. Everywhere except far north is too warm for me.
Okay.
It's just always too warm.
I'm just thinking he might be a little bit more sweaty because there's a little bit of pressure coming up next, because our next game after the break is G2 versus Eminem.
Jegs is confused.